Hey there and welcome back to Remnant 2. Today we're going to be looking at a stagger build, which is all about staggering enemies, just like it says in the name. We're going to be playing on Apocalypse to get to see how it does there. My overall setup here, I've made some weird choices, which, I mean, if I'm saying I've made some strange choices, like, you know, there's some interesting stuff happening. But the overall idea is pretty simple. Build up stagger damage so that we can hit guys and just have them fumble and we can continue to just pummel into them, right? Now, a couple things to say about it, right? Kind of up front, I mean, one is fun. It's just fun to hit guys and then watch them just fumble away as you continue to pummel and hit them in the face with a big freaking hook or shotgun or whatever it is, right? And it can be really good against, I mean, it's trash guys go away, no problem. Most elites, not a single problem. The issue that I end up kind of having with it is the core idea of it, that stagger amount. Doesn't really seem to affect some of the bosses. Some of the aberrant guys, it also doesn't really seem to do anything to, or their stagger level is just so high, it just whatever we had just didn't matter. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. For some of those guys, that part of the build just doesn't do anything. Now, that being said, I mean, we're swinging a lot and we can hit fairly hard, so it's not like it isn't taking down guys. I used it to beat the Ravager, you know, played through a bit on there to just kind of see how it goes and try things. But let's go ahead and get through it, right? Let me talk about the archetypes real quick. First, we've got Challenger on, and we've got the Explorer. So I went Challenger because I'm going to end up focusing a lot on the melee, and this is the way I want to do melee this time. Gets a lot of bonuses that help with it, the strong back and stuff. Plus, the Juggernaut skill is just really great for just the melee aspect, right? So that's why I went Challenger primary, plus the Die Hard perk is great. Then Explorer, I ended up choosing this to just get some of the swiftness, and I just kind of what I felt like using. Plus, I wanted to use the Planeswalker skill that, you know, gives us a lot of movement speed and reduces stamina cost. And the big reason with that is with the full stacks of Strongback, we can have a full set of Leto Mark II armor on and not be flopping. But we are at a heavyweight, so our stamina costs are a lot higher. So with the Planeswalker active, we can have that active and reduce any stamina costs for running around, rolling, charge attacks, all those things. So that was my mentality, like thought process when I was choosing this one. In addition, we're going to be able to just like straight up alternate back and forth between using the Planeswalker and Juggernaut skills, which is kind of fun. Now let's get into kind of the meat of the build, right? The main like stagger inducing weapons, because there's a few things that immediately jump to mind, right? The first one is our melee weapon, the Abyssal Hook. There's two main things about it that make it really good for this. The first is its baseline stagger modifier. It's 80%. There's only two other weapons that have that 80% value, and that would be the World's Edge and the Wrathbringer. Yep, both of those have 80% stagger modifiers. Everything else is much, much, much lower, right? The next closest one, I think, is the Iron Great Sword at 13%, which is, I mean, that's a big difference. Now, that being said, right, your other weapons are still going to stagger guys, right? And with all the modifiers we got going on, like, they will do fine. So if you don't have the Abyssal Hook, you don't need it for the build. Like, you can run, I would say, any other big weapon, because that's where you're going to get the most stagger value out of. But there is an argument to be said for like a small light weapon. Like I was using the Blade of Gaul. I did the Assassin's Dagger for a little bit because that thing has minus 15, and it would kind of do it, right? We lost a lot of the stagger value, but it also swings so much faster that in a way it almost makes up for it. But with all these modifiers, I mean, the bigger weapons are just getting so much more for it, so you're better off just using a big weapon. Now, the second part of it, why we choose a Abyssal Hook for the stagger thing, is its special effect, the Fathomless Deep. So when we do charge melee attacks, it stacks up how much melee stagger damage we do. 10% for each stack goes up to 30%. It only lasts for 5 seconds, though, so you have to like make sure you're constantly using it if you really want to get the value out of it, at least over a long fight. I mean, it's a crap ton of stagger value, and for the most part, though, like I will say, with everything we have going on, we're basically overkill in as far as like how much stagger we're doing. Like we kind of don't even need this one. For most regular guys and even a lot of the elites, I don't have to do the charged melee attack to stagger them or get ready to stagger them. I just swing, and it's nonstop stagger. Now, the next thing we'll talk about with it is the Mutator. So I have Edgelord in there right now, but I've gone through a few as I've been trying things out. And the first one I tried with was the Steadfast Mutator, because in my head I was like, all right, we're doing a lot of trading, right? I'm doing a lot of charged heavy attacks. I'm going to get hit. So I want to be able to take the hits and then be able to recover, right? Steadfast is going to make you able to trade with almost anything, right? If you build it the right way, I've traded with all kinds of things, right? Up to the end game Venom stuff, right? So really good there. Except I came to the realization I don't need to trade with enemies if I'm staggering them. Because as soon as I stagger them, they're not hitting me. I'm not taking damage because I can't do anything. So then I was like, well, let's make our charge attacks better. So I went with the Reinvigorate, which just makes our charge attacks more efficient. It gives them more damage and stuff. And then I realized I didn't even really need the charge attacks because a lot of my just basic attacks were staggering guys. So I thought, let's just swing faster, which is why I went Edgelord, increasing our melee charge speed, increasing our melee attack speed. We get lifesteal too, but honestly, that part I don't even care about really. So I've had the most fun and success with Edgelord and then putting some more attack speed in our relic. And so we're just swinging like crazy fast, and we're already baseline doing so much more stagger that they just never get a chance to do anything. Now, the two other main things that kind of help us with our stagger, we've got the wood ring. This increases our stagger damage by 15%. Pretty straightforward. And then we've got a relic slot in here for 20% more stagger damage, right? Now, after that, I chose the weapons that had the most stagger amounts to them. So we've got the Spore Bloom, has 20% stagger modifier. The Widowmaker also has 20% stagger modifier. So those are two of the like highest ones in the long gun. Though you could then drop down to the Nightmare gun. I forget what it's called for some reason. Nightfall. This thing has 15% stagger modifier for some reason, when all the other shotguns like Ford Scattergun, the Bulldog, and Coach Gun all have 10%. The Corrupted Merciless also has 10%. But I chose Spore Bloom because I wanted to use a shotgun. I felt like that was better. And Spore Shot's pretty nice. We can do some fun things with that. And Reloader, Slayer in there, so it's a little bit faster reload and stuff. Handgun, Silverback model is the highest hitting one, 20%. There's a few other ones that have 10%, like the Star Shot, the Rupture Cannon, and something else, I forget. Sure Shot. All those have 10% stagger modifiers as well, but doesn't beat the Silverback. This one's got 20%. We put Tremor in there because Tremor has, I think, more stagger damage. On the description, it says Shockwaves inflict 3 times impact. When I was thinking about it, in my head, it said 3 times stagger. It doesn't actually say that, though, so I'm not 100% sure if that impact means stagger. I'm assuming it does, because anytime people get hit with this, they just stop moving. So, Tremor is in there for our high stagger weapons. After that, this is where the weird stuff starts happening, right? I'm alternating with skill usage a lot, and I just got this amulet the other day, Legacy Protocol. Reduce skill cooldowns by 20%, increase skill durations by 15%. So I'm kind of relying a little bit on Planeswalker for stamina, and Juggernaut just makes us able to trade with enemies, better for melee attack speed, melee damage and stuff. So I thought it would be a lot of fun to have skills that last for a long time and recover a bit quickly. So I liked that idea. Swap it around if you need it. Point Focus Ring is helping for our shotgun spread, because it's only the initial spread and recoil. The Spore Bloom is a single shot weapon. Every shot on it is the initial spread and recoil, so it makes it a lot better, a lot more efficient. We're doing so much melee damage, I went with Dying Ember. You could maybe swap it around or something, but I do end up trading a fair amount, and sometimes I just take hits, and getting a lot of lifesteal with some melee attacks is pretty solid. Now, to help with our melees, whenever I decide to just go ham on like charged melee attacks, the Drakestone Pearl, it does help us out where it makes us regenerate stamina during melee attacks, so that can kind of help us out a bit and like give us an opportunity to recover stamina while we're still attacking. Now, if you don't really like that option, you could go with a Matriarch's Insignia. That thing gives you stamina back on melee hits, and then you could kind of swap this for something else. Or you could put in Reinvigorate in here, then your charged melee attacks don't cost nearly as much, and so you could do some more swapping around with your rings and stuff. The last couple other relics in here, I did more melee attack speed. We've got more health. The traits we got Strong Back and Swiftness from our archetypes, then Triage and Regrowth for that health and healing, as well as Vigor maxed out as well, naturally, because we're doing Apocalypse, I don't know. Long Shot, because I wanted my Spore Bloom and my Silverback to just have a bit more range. Even though I'm playing pretty up close and personal, there's going to be situations I need to hit guys from a distance, and just being able to get that ideal range a little bit higher, I just like the thought of. Expertise, because like I said, we're doing stuff with those skills. Handling, Shotgun, we want to make sure that Shotgun spread is really good. Plus, that handling really helps with the Silverback's recoil. It makes it a really smooth experience, and I really like that. Bloodstream is actually kind of a holdover when I was doing Steadfast, because Steadfast can make you get all the damage you take as gray health. So I was like, wanted more gray health regeneration. Not really the ideal choice here now because I'm not really doing that. What would be pretty good would probably be Arcane Strike, because when I get on top of guys, I end up just non-stop swinging like that dude in Signs. And then I've got points in endurance and recovery just for a little bit of stamina, quality of life. Now, I just re-rolled Adventure, and this is actually a pretty good spot for us because we've got these nice armored elite dudes. So we should be able to see kind of how it does there. I haven't actually fought them with this setup, so we'll see how the staggers go, right? Let's go ahead and just use Juggernaut now because we can. Fully charge, and now he's staggered. And fully charge. Oh, he didn't stagger again. Oh, there's a stagger. Alright, these guys take a bit, but I mean, they're so fully armored. I mean, it's very rare that I feel like I see them being staggered. So, I mean, I feel like it worked pretty well there. Just having him getting stopped here and there. 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, but our stamina's messed up now because our Juggernaut ended. Juggernaut helps us with our stamina. But look how fast you swing. Like, once you get them, like, staggered, you can just hit them bunches and bunches of times over and over again. And, like, they can't really do anything about it. I mean, those guys both hit me, like, once a piece. Now, when we go in here, we will fight all the guards. And what we'll do is we'll drop down the Tremor. And that should help us out quite a bit with the stagger because it supposedly does a bunch more stagger or something. So, we'll see how that goes. Hope my Juggernaut is off cooldown. Here we go. Yeah, I know. Skip, please. Oh, wrong gun. Tremor. Roll forward. We're gonna... Oh, lordy. Juggernaut. Oh, there we go. Alright, they're staggered a bunch. This is working out pretty well for us. Roll away. We're gonna drop another one. There it goes. Alright, maybe we can just full ham, like, just swing like crazy. Yeah. Yeah, test right. That worked out pretty well, honestly. Between the shockwave triggering, like staggering them a fair amount on top of the melee attacks, it really allowed us to keep hitting them because we wouldn't have been able to trade with 4 of those dudes hitting us all at the same time. But with enough of the lifesteal and then staggering them in between so I could actually, like, pummel dudes in between them hitting us, we were really able to sit there and trade them because of the stagger. And honestly, we weren't even at full power. I didn't even think about this. We actually want to use a relic to get all of our scavenger stacks. So we should have been doing like another, 30% more damage and another, 25% crit chance? Yeah, we should a lot more damage, a lot more crit chance. So definitely should have had that going on, and that would have made the fight even better. Alright, we rolled into Keula's Rest, which is actually perfect for us because this boss will allow us to really just sit with melee damage and, like, trade. Or not really trade, but just, like, really lay into him and see if it'll actually stagger her. Because when I tried out on the Ravager, I had some good, like, periods where I did a lot of melee hits on him, but, like, it just never really seemed to stagger him. But look at the Silverback. It's just constant stagger, which is great. Then we go here. I mean, it's just doing a bunch of damage anyways, so we're just blasting him before we even have to do. And he's staggered. He's staggered. Like, it's non-stop stagger. On these, like, little trash guys. Oh, I missed. But these guys kind of suck because they run, right? But you just don't stop hitting them, and as soon as you close the distance, they can't do anything about it because they are now staggered. Every single hit. I mean, and that's just how it goes. Like, that's how this entire build is going to go, right? As soon as you start hitting them, there's nothing they can do about it. Let's drop that over there. Whack, whack. Go get him. Now we can definitely use the Tremor to close off areas where lots of guys are coming from. Same thing with the Spore Shot. We drop that over there. Boom. Slows them down, deals damage. If you can catch them in both, like Tremor and the Spore Shot, they will never make it out because they're getting staggered from the Tremor effects. They're slowed down from the Spore Bloom, and they're just taking all kinds of, like, damage over time effects, basically. And you can definitely use that as well, where you basically, like, stagger them with a shot. Oops. And then you go in for the melee from there. Just like that. There we are. Where are you at? Come on out. Let's go ahead and activate the Planeswalker now, because we're going to do a lot of sprinting. We're going to do a lot of running around, and it's going to end up costing us a lot of stamina. Now, as they come from that direction, we let the Tremor do the work, and then we just circle over to this side, see what's going on. I see you, friend. Oh, no. Oh, missed. Ah, I thought I swapped weapons. That's okay. Oh, Lord. I gotta try and hit dudes. It's kind of important. Let's get this reloaded, too. I didn't mention it. I have Extender in my Silverback. I just like having a couple extra shots. Plus, it helps with the reload speed, which is... I just kind of like. Look how smooth that Silverback firing is. Ready? Watch. It's so nice. I really like that. There we go. We're just trying to tremor them. Make sure we're not getting overwhelmed by ranged numbers. And Tremor is just a fantastic mod as it is. Like, even without, like, building around Stagger, or without even using Detonation Trigger or anything like that. Or Amplitude, because Amplitude helps Tremor. It's just a great mod. It's just great. It's great at clearing guys. It keeps them under control. It even has a small, like, kind of vertical hitbox to it. So, even though some enemies are flying, if they're low enough to the ground, they're basically on the ground, so they get staggered out, which is nice. Hi, guys. Let's go ahead and use my Juggernaut, because I can, and extra bulwark will help us out to not die. Keep it going. Keep it going. Now, we gotta be careful, because we will get affected by slowed, too. But we have so much increased melee attack speed, in a way, it kind of doesn't affect us. Like, it definitely does, but it kind of doesn't, because they are also affected by slow. Oh, I missed. Huh. I was kind of hoping to find another type of elite to kind of show you how it staggers them. Because those armored guys, while they were a great example because they're difficult to stagger, I feel anyways, it would have been nice to see like more of a regular one just to like show how that one goes. But at least we'll fight Keula now, so we'll see how that kind of goes for us. I'm curious to see if we stagger or not. I really cannot remember if you can actually stagger her. So, we'll find out. Let's go ahead and make sure we got full stacks of the Scavenger. And, yeah, make it happen. Alright, here we go. Let's just drop one of those. Boom. Make sure we keep an eye out for that. And we need to start building up the mod on our Tremor. I want to make sure we have that for when, oops, I messed that up. I tried to use Juggernaut for some reason, thinking I could activate Juggernaut and then just, like, completely trade into her. Ooh, okay. Not like I have Steadfast. See, this is a situation where having, like, Steadfast would be pretty solid, I think. Because then we could, like, actually, like, trade hits with her. But we're just chunking into her anyways. Like, so even if we're not actually staggering her, we're doing so much, like, damage from the melee because we've got a high attack speed. Juggernaut helps us with the melee damage and attack speed that we can absolutely just, like, be just fine. Let's go ahead and get Planeswalker active. So that way we are, that way we're not using all of our stamina doing these attacks and stuff. And then we can rely on some of the lifesteal and regeneration to get us health back. Now, I like using the charge attacks to try and get us more stagger. But like I said before, like, it's kind of just overkill. Like, we don't even need it for her. And because it's just, it doesn't stagger her. Like, we're not staggering her. And then even for, like, just standard trash guys, we don't even need it for them because we just don't need that kind of stagger power. It's overkill. I mean, we'll use Juggernaut now to give us a bulwark and damage, right? And then we just go weeding. Just go weeding. This is just standard melee build here at this point against her. Because this is exactly what I would do on any of my other melee-focused builds, right? Just Juggernaut and then go ham against the enemy. That's all. Now, what I might try and do is actually use the Tremor on her when she shows back up, because that could make a difference. Oh, I blew myself up. Oh, I made a mistake. I gotta be careful here. I had the wrong mod out. I lost focus. Fully charged. Now we gotta do basic attacks here because our stamina was really low, and so we want to make sure we're not consuming it. That way we have enough for any dodges we have to perform. I messed it up. I thought I could hit her. I know better. I know better than to be greedy. I thought I could finish her off before she connected the hit, and I was wrong. But, I mean, there it is on, like, a boss, right? We were winning that handily outside of me making silly mistakes. Unfortunately, like, I didn't notice it staggering her at all. I don't know that you can actually stagger any of the, like, mini bosses or world bosses. Even though I really feel like I've seen some of them get staggered. I feel like I've seen that. But for any of the other dudes, I mean, it really locks down elites. It really locks down those other dudes. I mean, that's the build, dude. That's it. Alright, if I can, maybe I'll show you a different elite dude that it just absolutely pummels here in a second. Yeah, I'm gonna try and find one. Hold on. Alright, there's an elite dude up here. We'll, see how it does against him, right? We'll use a Juggernaut, too, because we can. Boom. Fully charged. Fully charged. He's staggered. Staggered. Yeah. I mean, granted, we got him before he stood up, but, I mean, there was no opportunity for him to do anything. Like, even if he started swinging, I'm pretty sure we would have staggered him before he could actually, like, hit us at all. So, I mean, overall, does good against elites. But that's pretty much it. That's the build. You know, hope you enjoyed it. You know, I'll give you some stuff you could kind of try. Like I said in the beginning, at a certain point, the amount of stagger we have is just overkill. Like, we just don't need that much stagger. It's kind of like with the Fathomless Deep hammer here, the Abyssal Hook. Like, we kind of don't even need that hammer. Like, we would probably just be better off using, I mean, World's Edge or Wrathbringer, because we just don't need the stacks of Fathomless Deep. We just don't need those stacks. Like, we could just go with taking damage and doing more damage there or something, or maybe even using World's Edge and just, I mean, doing the huge amounts of AoE range damage with it. So, but hey, thank you guys for checking it out. Always appreciate it when you guys do, and until the next one, take care.